Like cities across the Rust Belt, Fort Wayne, Indiana endured some tough decades as manufacturing plants closed, jobs dried up, and the city's population shrank. But in recent years, Fort Wayne has made a turnaround and a big investment in public art. Special correspondent Kat Wise recently spent time with a local artist who's a driving force behind that effort. Her report is part of our Arts and Culture series, Canvas.
Above a busy street in downtown Fort Wayne, in a quiet studio apartment, artist Alexandra Hall brings colorful, playful creatures to life with paint and brush. Hall, who is 37, grew up in Fort Wayne and has been a full-time artist since 2015. Over the years, she's drawn and painted a variety of subjects, including portraits, still life, and delightful tipsy frogs. More recently, she's become known for her large-scale paintings of animals in bright, pattern-filled costumes.
I am inspired by a lot of different things. Travel, sometimes it's a person I see on the sidewalk. I have for a very long time recreated the things I see into whimsical animals that often have human traits or an anthropomorphized animal.
Tell me about the dripping of the paint. Why is that important?
I think that there's a little bit of chaos in every piece. There needs to be that release of control, that idea that nothing in our life is unchanging and nothing in our life is fully in our control. I tuck that into because that's been part of my life story, and I think it's part of most people's life story.
Her life took an unexpected turn in high school when she was diagnosed with bone cancer.
Back when I was ill, I was spending a lot of time in bed. It was really up to me to create the world around me, make it interesting, and so art became that outlet for me, and it's still an outlet for me today.
After recovering and going on to college, Hall began traveling and discovered a love of public art.
When I traveled, I noticed that there were communities that organically have a really strong public art presence, and I found myself more drawn to those places and those spaces because they have some sort of story to tell. At the time, I would say, I thought, wow, I can't wait to live in a place like this. I want to leave Indiana.
Hall eventually decided not to leave. Instead, she's brought public art to her hometown.
So in the summer, this can be a really cool place to hang out, read a book, and it's a little quieter than the street side.
In 2016, Hall started a donation-funded organization called Art This Way. Now a nonprofit that's part of Fort Wayne's Downtown Improvement District, the organization facilitates public art projects on private property and the development of pedestrian-friendly spaces.
We work really hard to make spaces walkable in the sense that there's art every so often, and often enough that you are intrigued and inspired and want to keep going. Yeah.
She took me on a tour to see some of the 30 large-scale pieces her organization has helped install by local, national, and international artists.
Tell me about this mural.
Right. So this is Walt Whitman by Tim Parsley. This is meant to depict the creative brain and the hope that comes from the creative brain. What we wanted to do with the Art This Way program was create a place where public art could be about anything, and it didn't need to necessarily be about Fort Wayne. So give it room to breathe and allow art for art's sake to happen.
That art, she says, has helped breathe new life into the city, which during the downturn years had seen an increase in vacant parking lots and abandoned buildings. Today, once dark alleyways are now a destination.
Oh my goodness, tell me about this piece.
So this is called 77 Steps. We've seen engagement photos. People get engaged in this space. It can be programmed to do a lot of different things. We'll program it for special events and holidays, you name it.
The community loves it.
Yeah, the community loves it.
Art This Way's projects, including two of Hall's own works, are part of a growing collection of public art throughout the city. Nearly 150 pieces, including a new sculpture in honor of Ukraine.
You're supposed to engage with this, like a lot of the works that we install, you're supposed to be able to touch them. And here you're supposed to stand and be pictured with your crown and your set of wings.
Events like the annual art crawl in September draw locals and visitors, and perhaps convince some of those visitors to stay.
There's more people moving in than are moving out. It's there, it's a big deal, and that's something to be proud of.
Bill Brown is a retired Fort Wayne business owner and former head of the Downtown Improvement District.
We have some outstanding local artists.
I met him at the Bradley, a new boutique hotel in downtown.
What's so cool is that the Bradley's been able to embrace them and hang their art.
He says public art has played a significant role in Fort Wayne's revitalization efforts, which have also included riverfront development and a baseball stadium. Nationally, a 2018 survey by the nonprofit Americans for the Arts found that 70% of Americans believe that the arts improve the image and identity of their community. In Indiana, arts and culture is a $7.6 billion industry, which supports more than 78,000 jobs. Brown says in Fort Wayne, nearly everyone is on board now with public art, but it took some time to get there.
I think the change was the realization that the arts can drive economic development. I think kind of that show me kind of thing, a conservative community, once they trust, they're all in. And that's where I think with people like Alex, it's about performance, trust, and talent.
Hall and other Fort Wayne artists have been building on that trust and expanding their impact, like Theophilus Smith, who goes by the artistic name Fresh Laundry. I met him at his new mural in the entrance tunnel to Electric Works, the recently renovated former campus of General Electric that was vacant for years. Smith, an internationally recognized artist whose work can be seen throughout Fort Wayne, including at the Bradley Hotel, has high hopes for his city.
I want this to be like a mecca in the northern region to see the arts flourish. Being the second largest city in Indiana, the economy is growing. You have people in all walks of life coming into Fort Wayne to see what we have to offer. We want to make sure that we're screaming and echoing arts.
But as his city grows, he wants to make sure everyone is included and able to access the arts.
You have your fine line between gentrification versus revitalization and make sure that you have the right people at the table to make it cohesive. You want people to feel invited, feel welcome, feel I belong here.
Hall also wants to continue making public art more accessible.
What we've created is this huge melting pot of street art. We're seeing lots of diversity in the cultures and ethnicities and where someone's from, Brazil, Germany, you name it.
She's now consulting with communities outside of Fort Wayne, and over the past 3 years, she's led more than 36 projects in rural towns in Indiana, New York, and Pennsylvania. And while she still loves to travel, she has no plans to leave her hometown. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Kat Wise in Fort Wayne, Indiana.